Look up. On a clear night, far from the glare of city lights, you might see a few pinpricks of light slowly gliding across the star-studded canvas. These are not stars. They are satellites, our silent partners in the modern world. They are the unseen guardians of our global civilization, the tireless workhorses that make our interconnected lives possible. From the GPS that guides your car through unfamiliar streets to the weather forecasts that warn of approaching storms, these machines are woven into the very fabric of our daily existence. They are the backbone of global finance, bouncing data across continents in the blink of an eye, and the lifeline for emergency responders in disaster-stricken areas. They carry our voices, our data, our hopes, but this reliance creates a vulnerability. Imagine a day without them. The world would not simply be inconvenienced, it would grind to a halt. Global communication would collapse, financial markets would freeze, and our ability to navigate the planet would revert to the age of paper maps and sextants. This is why protecting these vital assets has become one of the most critical national security challenges of the 21st century. The quiet, empty expanse of space is no longer just a realm of scientific discovery, it has become a strategic high ground, a domain where nations jostle for advantage and where the security of our world below is won or lost. For decades we launched our satellites with a sense of optimism, placing them in their designated orbits and largely assuming they would remain safe. That era of innocence is over. Space has become crowded, and not just with functioning satellites and scientific probes, it is also filled with debris, defunct spacecraft, and more troublingly, the potential for adversarial action. Nations with advanced space programs now have the capability to interfere with, disable, or even destroy the satellites of others. This makes the ability to monitor what is happening up there, to see and understand the activity around our own space assets, not just a strategic advantage but an absolute necessity for survival. Knowing what is happening in orbit is the first line of defense. It's about maintaining space domain awareness. This means tracking every object, from the smallest piece of junk to the most sophisticated military satellite, and understanding its purpose and its trajectory. Are two satellites moving unusually close to each other? Is an unknown object approaching a critical communications satellite? Answering these questions requires a new generation of sentinels in space, satellites designed not just to look down at Earth but to look out at the space around them. These are the watchers of the watchers, the celestial guardians tasked with protecting our vital link to the cosmos. To understand the challenge, you have to understand the vastness of space and the rules that govern motion within it. Satellites don't just float randomly, they follow precise paths called orbits, held in a delicate cosmic dance by Earth's gravity. Think of it like a multi-lane highway system encircling our planet. The closest lanes, just a few hundred kilometers up, are called low Earth orbit, or LEO. This is where the International Space Station cruises and where many Earth imaging satellites reside. They zip around the planet at incredible speeds, completing a full lap in about 90 minutes. It's a busy, bustling neighborhood of space. Further out, things change. Much further. About 36,000 kilometers above the equator lies a very special place, geostationary orbit, or GEO. In this distant lane, a satellite's orbital period perfectly matches Earth's rotation. From our perspective on the ground, a satellite in GEO appears to hover motionless over a single spot on the planet. This is incredibly useful for communication and broadcasting satellites, as antennas on Earth can be pointed at a fixed position in the sky. These GEO satellites are the crown jewels of our space infrastructure, the powerful relays that handle immense volumes of data for military, commercial, and civilian use. They are the high ground, the ultimate strategic position. Getting from the LEO on-ramp to the GEO superhighway is no easy task. It requires a tremendous amount of energy and time. Traditionally, a satellite uses its own small, efficient engines to slowly spiral outwards, a journey that can take weeks or even months. This slow, predictable path is like taking the scenic route, but in a military or emergency context, it's a critical vulnerability. If you need to replace a damaged satellite or deploy a new one to respond to a sudden threat, waiting for months is not an option. You need speed. You need the ability to move assets between orbits not in months but in hours. This is the tyranny of orbital mechanics. Changing your altitude or inclination in space isn't like changing lanes on a freeway. Every maneuver costs precious fuel and must be calculated with exquisite precision. The dream for space strategists has always been to break free from this slow, plodding pace. Imagine being able to deploy a space tow truck that could grab a satellite from a crowded LEO launch and rocket it out to its final destination in GEO in less than a day. This capability would be revolutionary. It would transform our ability to respond to crises, augment our capabilities on the fly, and keep adversaries guessing. It would change the fundamental calculus of space operations. The grand challenges of space have always inspired innovation. But today, that innovation is not just coming from government agencies with massive budgets. It's coming from a new generation of private companies, nimble, daring, and driven by a different kind of vision. They are the new pioneers, moving at the speed of commerce to solve problems that have vexed military planners for decades. Two of these companies, Impulse Space and Anduril Industries, have joined forces to tackle one of the biggest challenges of all: how to quickly and intelligently operate in the vast, dark expanse of geostationary orbit. They are not just building another satellite, they are building a new capability from the ground up. Impulse Space is the brainchild of Tom Mueller, a legendary propulsion engineer who was a founding employee at SpaceX, and led the development of the Merlin engines that power the Falcon 9 rocket. His new company is focused on one thing: in-space transportation. Impulse builds the get there part of the mission. They are creating the cosmic equivalent of a high-performance engine and a sturdy chassis, designed to move satellites between orbits with unprecedented speed and efficiency. Their technology is all about powerful, reliable propulsion that can execute massive orbital changes in a fraction of the time it currently takes, delivering satellites to their destinations with speed and precision. On the other side of this partnership is Anduril Industries. If Impulse provides the muscle and speed, Anduril provides the eyes and the brain. Founded by Palmer Luckey, the creator of the Oculus VR headset, Anduril is a defense technology company focused on applying the latest breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, robotics, and sensor technology to national security problems. For this space mission, Anduril is developing the sophisticated payload. This includes advanced sensors that can see other objects in space, even when they are cold, dark, and trying not to be seen. Crucially, it also includes the onboard artificial intelligence that can process this information and make decisions on its own. Together, these two companies represent a powerful new paradigm. Impulse Space builds the Space Tug or Kick Stage, a vehicle named Helios, which is powered by a new engine called Deneb. This vehicle is designed to give the mission's satellite, a craft called Mira, a massive push to get it from its initial orbit to its final destination in GEO incredibly fast. Once there, the Anduril-provided payload takes over. Its advanced software, known as Lattice, gives the satellite the autonomy to hunt for, identify, and inspect other objects in orbit without needing constant instructions from a human operator on the ground. It's a partnership that combines raw power with sophisticated intelligence. The ability to move quickly in space is a game changer, and this is where Impulse Space is rewriting the rulebook. Their core innovation is a high-thrust propulsion system designed specifically for in-space maneuvers. Think of the difference between the small, efficient ion thrusters that slowly nudge a satellite over months, and the powerful rocket engines that blast a crew into orbit in minutes. Impulse has engineered a system that brings that kind of high-thrust capability to the task of moving between orbits. Their Helios kick stage, powered by the Deneb engine, is designed to perform a powerful, sustained burn that dramatically shortens the travel time from LEO to GEO. This isn't just an incremental improvement, it's a fundamental shift. A journey that traditionally took up to 6 months could now be completed in under 24 hours. This is the difference between sending a letter by sea and sending it by supersonic jet. For military commanders, this tactically responsive space capability is a holy grail. It means that if a critical satellite in GEO is disabled or a new threat emerges, the US Space Force doesn't have to wait half a year to respond. They can launch a replacement or an inspection satellite and have it on station, fully operational, in about a day. This shrinks the window of vulnerability and dramatically increases strategic flexibility. The technology behind this leap is rooted in deep experience with chemical propulsion. The Deneb engine is designed for performance and reliability, capable of multiple restarts in the vacuum of space. This allows the Helios stage to perform complex maneuvers with precision. It can deliver its payload, in this case the Mira spacecraft, to a precise point in geostationary orbit, and then move away. The Mira spacecraft itself, while smaller, also has its own propulsion, allowing it to perform the fine-tuned rendezvous and proximity operations once it arrives. The entire system is a masterclass in modern rocketry, optimized for speed and efficiency in the final frontier. The implications extend far beyond a single mission. This rapid transit system makes the entire GEO belt more accessible. In October 2024, the potential of this technology was recognized when Impulse secured a $34.5 million contract from the Space Force and the Defense Innovation Unit to develop these rapid response capabilities. Furthermore, commercial companies are lining up. Communications startup Astranis plans to use Helios in 2027 to quickly deliver its small broadband satellites to GEO, allowing them to start generating revenue months earlier than before. Impulse is building not just a single vehicle but an entire transportation service for the cislunar economy, an express elevator to the most valuable real estate in Earth's orbit. Once the Impulse-built spacecraft arrives in geostationary orbit at, a breathtaking speed, its mission is only just beginning. Now it needs to be able to see, think, and act. This is where Anduril Industries steps in, equipping the satellite with a suite of advanced sensors and an autonomous brain. The primary challenge of monitoring space is that it is, by its very nature, dark and cold. Satellites don't glow like stars, they are often faint objects, reflecting only a tiny amount of sunlight. Worse, when a satellite passes into Earth's shadow during an eclipse, it can become nearly invisible to traditional optical telescopes. It becomes, a ghost in the night. To solve this problem, Anduril has equipped the mission with a powerful long-wave infrared, or LWR imager. Unlike a standard camera that sees visible light, an infrared sensor sees heat. Even a cold satellite in the vacuum of space has a subtle heat signature against the absolute zero background. Anduril's LUR imager is sensitive enough to pick up these faint thermal traces, allowing the satellite to detect and track other objects even when they are shrouded in darkness. This gives military commanders an invaluable eyes-on capability, 24/7, without the blind spots created by Earth's shadow. It's like giving the satellite a pair of military-grade night vision goggles. But seeing an object is only half the battle. You need to understand what it is and what it's doing. This is where Anduril's Lattice software comes into play. Lattice is an AI-powered operating system that acts as the satellite's autonomous brain. It takes the data from the LWR imager and other sensors, processes it in real time, and makes decisions without waiting for a command from Earth. The time delay for a signal to travel from Earth to GEO and back can be several seconds, which is, honestly, an eternity when two objects are moving at orbital speeds. Lattice enables the spacecraft to perform autonomous rendezvous and proximity operations, or RPO. This means the satellite can be given a simple command. Go investigate that unknown object. The Lattice software will then autonomously plot a safe course to approach the target, maneuver around it, and use its sensors to build a detailed picture of what it is. It can identify antennas, propulsion systems, and other features, helping analysts on the ground determine the object's capabilities and intent. This level of autonomy is revolutionary. It reduces the cognitive load on human operators and allows one person to manage a whole constellation of these Sentinel satellites, turning a reactive monitoring system into a proactive, intelligent network of celestial watchdogs. The collaboration between Impulse Space and Anduril Industries is more than just a single mission. It represents a profound shift in how the United States approaches national security in space. For decades, the development of advanced military space systems was the exclusive domain of the government and a few large, traditional defense contractors. These programs were often slow, incredibly expensive, and honestly, pretty risk-averse. The result was a development cycle that could take a decade or more, which is a pace that's just not sustainable in a rapidly evolving and competitive environment. The old model is being disrupted, and a new Public-Private Odyssey has begun. This new model really leverages the speed and innovation of the commercial sector. Companies like Impulse and Anduril operate on venture capital funding and are driven by the relentless pace of the tech industry. They develop new technologies on their own dime, test them quickly, and they're not afraid to fail and iterate. Their internally funded demonstration mission, scheduled for late 2026, is a perfect example. They are building and launching a military-grade capability without a massive upfront government contract. They're showing, not just telling, what is possible. This allows the Department of Defense to see a proven technology in action and then procure it as a service. rather than managing a complex, multi-year development program. This approach delivers cutting-edge capabilities to the warfighter faster and often at a fraction of the cost. The Space Force has embraced this model through organizations like the Defense Innovation Unit and programs like Tactically Responsive Space. They're actively seeking out commercial partners who can provide innovative solutions. Anduril's Lattice software was already selected in November 2024 to be a part of the Space Force's core space surveillance network, integrating data from ground-based and space-based sensors into a unified operational picture. This mission is the next logical step, putting Anduril's autonomous brain onto Impulse's high-speed space vehicle. The benefits really flow in both directions. The military gains access to state-of-the-art technology without bearing the full development risk. In turn, a government contract provides a stamp of validation for these commercial companies, attracting further investment and opening up new markets. Impulse Space, for instance, raised a staggering $300 million in a Series C funding round in June 2025, which is a testament to the confidence investors have in their vision. This symbiotic relationship is creating a vibrant and resilient industrial base, ensuring that the United States can continue to innovate and stay ahead in the final frontier. It's a new space race, but this time, the race is being run by public-private partnerships. The urgency behind this new wave of innovation is driven by a simple, undeniable fact. Space is no longer a peaceful sanctuary. It has become a domain of strategic competition, a celestial chessboard where great powers maneuver for advantage. The United States, which has long enjoyed unparalleled freedom of action in space, now faces sophisticated and determined competitors. Chief among them is China, which has invested enormous resources into developing a world-class space program with clear military ambitions. They are rapidly building their own constellations of satellites and, more importantly, developing a range of counter-space capabilities. China and other nations are actively testing and deploying technologies designed to disrupt, deny, or destroy an adversary's space assets. These include co-orbital inspector satellites equipped with robotic arms that could potentially grab or damage other spacecraft, ground-based lasers that can dazzle or blind imaging satellites, and electronic warfare systems that can jam communication signals. In this environment, simply having satellites is not enough. You must be able to defend them, and the first step in defense is awareness. You really cannot protect yourself from a threat you can't see or understand. The Anduril Impulse mission is a direct response to this contested environment. The ability to rapidly deploy a satellite to geostationary orbit and then autonomously inspect a suspicious object is a powerful deterrent. If an adversary knows that any hostile move against a US satellite will be quickly seen, identified, and documented, they may be less likely to act in the first place. It changes the strategic calculus. It's the space equivalent of having a patrol car that can show up anywhere in the neighborhood on a moment's notice. This capability provides clarity and attribution, making it harder for an aggressor to hide their actions in the vastness of space. This is the new reality of satellite warfare. It may not involve explosive Star Wars-style battles, but rather a subtle and complex game of cat and mouse. It's about maneuver and counter-maneuver, surveillance and counter-surveillance, jamming and counter-jamming. The goal is to maintain control of the strategic high ground and ensure that our vital space systems can continue to operate even under pressure. Technologies that provide speed, awareness, and autonomy are the new queens and rooks on this celestial chessboard, giving the United States the flexibility and resilience needed to navigate this complex and increasingly crowded frontier. The late 2026 launch that will carry the Anduril Impulse demonstration mission into orbit is significant for another reason. It will be a rideshare, launching alongside other payloads, including one for a US Space Force mission called Victus Surgo. This name, Latin for I conquer by rising, perfectly captures the spirit of the endeavor. Victus Surgo is part of the military's broader push for tactically responsive space, a program designed to practice and perfect the ability to launch a satellite on extremely short notice to respond to a specific, urgent need on the battlefield or in orbit. This shared launch highlights the deep integration of these new commercial capabilities into the military's future warfighting concepts. Imagine a scenario where a terrestrial conflict flares up unexpectedly. A commander on the ground needs immediate, persistent satellite imagery over a specific region, but existing satellites are not in the right position. The Victus Surgo concept envisions a process where a satellite, already built and waiting in a warehouse, could be pulled off the shelf, integrated onto a rocket, and launched within 24 to 48 hours. This would provide an almost instantaneous tactical advantage, giving commanders the eyes in the sky they need, exactly when and where they need them. It's about turning space power from a slow, strategic asset into a fast, tactical tool. The Anduril Impulse mission complements this vision perfectly. While Victus Surgo focuses on the rapid launch from the ground, the Anduril Impulse capability focuses on rapid maneuver once in space. You can really see how these two concepts could work together. A rapid launch could place an inspection satellite into low Earth orbit, and then an impulse-like space tug could immediately grab it and propel it towards a threat in geostationary orbit. This layered approach creates multiple options for rapid response, making the U.S. space architecture more resilient, redundant, and unpredictable for any potential adversary. This shared launch is more than a matter of convenience, it's a powerful statement. It demonstrates that the future of American space power is a hybrid ecosystem where commercial innovation and military requirements are fused together. The Falcon 9 rocket, itself a product of commercial innovation, will carry both a dedicated military payload practicing rapid launch and a commercially developed payload practicing rapid maneuver. It's a glimpse into a future where the lines between commercial and government space are increasingly blurred, all in service of creating a more agile and robust presence in orbit. The whole is truly greater than the sum of its parts. As we stand here in 2025 looking out at the cosmos, we are at a pivotal moment in our relationship with space. For 60 years it was a frontier for exploration and a platform for services we came to rely on. Now it is also a domain of competition and potential conflict. The work being done by companies like Impulse Space and Anduril Industries is not just about building faster rockets or smarter satellites, it's about securing our future in this new era. It's about ensuring that the benefits we derive from space, communication, navigation, scientific knowledge, and economic prosperity remain available for generations to come. The technologies they are pioneering, rapid orbital transit, autonomous operations, and advanced sensing, will do more than just serve military needs. They'll form the building blocks of a true in-space economy. Imagine space tugs moving satellites not just from low Earth orbit to geostationary orbit, but to the moon and beyond. Imagine autonomous spacecraft that can inspect, repair, and refuel other satellites, extending their lives and reducing the problem of space debris. Imagine a logistics network in space that is as robust and responsive as the shipping lanes on Earth's oceans. This is the future that these innovations are making possible. This future, however, is not guaranteed. It requires continued investment, bold thinking, and a commitment to maintaining a safe and stable space environment. The development of capabilities to monitor and patrol our orbital highways is a necessary step, a sign of maturity. Just as we have air traffic control to manage our skies and coast guards to patrol our seas, we now need guardians for our orbital domains. The goal is not to militarize space, but to professionalize its management, to deter aggression, and to ensure that it remains a realm of opportunity for all. Vigilance is the price of freedom, on Earth and among the stars. The universe is vast and full of wonders, but the small shell of space around our planet has become an indispensable part of our civilization. It is a precious resource and a strategic asset that must be protected. The partnership between Anduril and Impulse Space is a powerful example of how human ingenuity can rise to meet the challenges of our time. They are crafting the tools that will allow us to be better stewards of this critical domain. As we continue our journey outward into the cosmos, we must carry with us not only our ambition and our curiosity, but also a profound sense of responsibility for the celestial shores we now inhabit.